What's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. All right, so big day today. In yesterday's video, we did talk about the importance of where we were at. We were at a very big spot over here on the S&P 500, as well as a lot of other stocks. We had weekly RSIs in oversold territory. We pointed out that the Mag 7 stocks, if you were going to be buying those during times like the '08 crash, that they would hold up and perform better than the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. The next day, we did end up seeing President Donald Trump give a 90-day hold on these tariffs. So we, the whole reason we fell off a cliff here, the whole reason just got delayed by 90 days, and the market ended up liking it. We now have a very bullish look over here on the weekly time frame, stemming right here from the 2021 high, right before we started our 2022 bear market and then broke out. And then that led to this bullish rally we had recently. We came right back down to it over here, 50% retracement from the whole 2022 low to the 2025 high over there. From that whole rally, we retraced 50% of it just about. Weekly RSI was oversold, and we are now seeing buyers step in like no other. Today, we did have some records being broken, some pretty insane stuff over here. S&P 500 up 10.5%. The Nasdaq closed up 12% over there. So during this video, guys, we're just going to go over the SPY over here and QQQ. We'll go over the VIX. Other than that, we'll briefly go over the Mag 7 stocks, but we're going to keep this one short over here. Very heavy volume already on the week. Very heavy volume today. You're coming right into a big spot here. This is right where we broke down. This is literally where you capped underneath and then started your whole decline. So we're coming into a very big horizontal resistance right there at 549.68 over here on SPY. Above 549.68, we have 558.03, 567.42, and 576.41. On the downside, which, just keep in mind, we just had an absolute massive move here. And, from this day right here, this is literally, tariffs being put into place. Okay, they were supposed to go into effect today. They were not, though. All right, they were delayed by 90 days. And then I guess China's tariffs are still going into effect. Either way, guys, the market is liking what we're seeing over here. I do think, it's very possible here that we are going to see a pullback over the coming days. But I also think that the market, the buyers, they just made a stand over here. And I have a feeling they're about to just slice right through the daily 21 EMA here. This is where you got rejected over here. This is where you got rejected over here before being slammed down to new lows. And if I had to guess, we're probably just going to, slice right over it. Okay, you come over here, the 4-hour time frame, there's nothing to be bearish about with the move we just got. I am just going to say, all right, options, guys, with the very volatile market, guess what? They are, extremely elevated right now. They're juiced up to the gills. And, if we do end up seeing 1 or 2 days of pulling back here, maybe pull back tomorrow, continue pushing into Friday, then tomorrow that would be, a premium killer day for, the coming week's expirations on options over there. So, definitely something just to keep in mind there. But I do think buyers, they made a stand over here when we had our 10% intraday move over here on SPY. It was a 8.5% move from right there all the way up here, 8.5% move bottom to top over there. And then it, got confirmed by the White House that it was fake news, and you did end up, selling off over there. But in reality, now we could see in hindsight that it was not fake news. It was definitely the news that he was planning on releasing over here. Got, pre-released over here. It got, dropped, leaked to the public there. And then they're like, oh, no, that's not our plan. Sold off. And then, yeah, literally 2 days later, we had that exact news come out and the market rocketed off there, right? So that's, 2 times over here, buyers were showing their hand. They were ready to buy this market, given a proper catalyst. And now we could see today, all right, it was confirmed. It wasn't a fake out catalyst like the other day. And you had the mother of all freaking rips today, okay? Very clearly, sellers, you had your chance over here. But now we could see the impulsive buy move, okay? Like buyers, this is more impulsive than the sell that we thought was absolutely insane over here. We are now seeing a buy that is way more impulsive than what we got. Okay, we just covered You know, pretty much the whole decline here in one trading session here. We got like, you know, 3/4 of the decline out the way, recovered. All right. You know, I'm just going to say we're probably going to be continuing up. So if you pull back, your support is going to be 536.70, 525.87, and then 518.36. I don't think we're going to be pulling back underneath it. If you do, you probably have some problems over here. But given that, you know, we just ended up having today, I think it's extremely unlikely that we are going to be revisiting these lows anytime soon. I think the bottom is in for the time being. Dips are now back into being buying opportunities. Okay, so that's SPY. Coming over here to QQQ, resistance, guys. Just like SPY, this is where you started falling off a cliff. All right, tariffs, you know, we knew that was this whole original scare. And then you had your little dead cat bounce. And then right over here, this was, you know, April 2nd. This was the day they were going to be announced. And as we could see, market started falling off cliff. But we have recovered most of that decline here. And now just keep in mind, this whole decline was also off that same exact catalyst of the tariffs. Okay. So, you know, yes, price can stop here. But in reality, this whole entire decline here was, you know, just directly caused by tariff talk. Let's be real about it. So, you know, you're probably going to test right over here where you stalled out. Probably going to come up and have that 0.618 Fibonacci retracement get tested up around 488. All right. So if you do get over 466.43, you're going to be watching right here at 472.91. Above 472.91, you have 479.56, then 485.84, which is right around that 0.618 Fibonacci retracement at 488. On the downside, if you do pull back, like I was pointing out on S&P 500, we have underneath 466.43, we have 459.17, 450.15, and then 443.06. This, if tested, expected to hold. This was your roof over here, and we mentioned yesterday's video. It's pretty clear as day. This is your line in the sand for, you know, sellers over here and buyers. You get above there, all right, sellers are not going to be in control. It's very clear where they were sitting there, where they were holding the line. If you got above it, then you were gonna, you know, probably have a bit more of a squeeze going on. And that is what happened over here. We could just see what happened today. You squeezed right up into that level. And then you, you ran for the hills. You just kept going. You didn't really pull back there. So guys, the market wants to be bought. We had a lot of fear going on. Fear is, you know, what produces the bottoms. I've been talking about it. I've also been very vocal about that. You know, I didn't know when exactly things were going to get better, but I did know we were gonna clear as day have it, just be shoved right in our face. It was gonna be clear as day. And now we have this, okay? So if we close out the week like this, guys, we're probably going to continue higher the following week, all right? There's your free money opportunity right there. Ideally, we're going to pull back into the end of the week, and we're going to close somewhere around where we are right here. And then we continue higher up into 488 over here next week. So that is, you know, the ideal game plan over here. But we'll see if things cooperate with us. We will see. Same time, level to level, you know what you're talking about, you know what you're playing, okay? Tomorrow comes around. If you end up gapping down, you're going to be watching 459.17, 450.15, and then 443.06. You got to hold right there. If you lose it, bad things happen, but don't expect it to lose it because, again, that was your ceiling. Now it should be flipped into a floor. If you gap and go, guys, all right, well, we're going to have 472.91, 479.56, and 485.84 as resistance. Now, I don't think we're going to have, you know, another crazy 4 to 5% day tomorrow. We can because of all the volatility we've had, but as we could see, the volatility is being crushed here with the move that just took place. And, you know, we could just have the market digest that move, the massive move that just took place, okay? So, you know, ideally, we get the pullback. But at the same time, I will not be surprised if, you know, the market wants to be bought. So I'll not be surprised if it just continues like I was pointing out over here on the 21 EMAs there. I would not be surprised if it just slices over it, considering the rejection here, and then you got slammed down. Same look over here on the S&P 500, rejection, you got slammed down. You're right here. So, you know, if buyers really want to take a stand here, yeah, get right above that. That's probably the most bullish thing you could do. All right. And if you just want to keep this thing going, guys, I think we're probably going to end up at all-time highs over the next 3 months. We got 90 days here for the market to forget about all the crap that just happened, rally, and then remember all the crap that just happened because it's going to happen again. except it might actually happen. Honestly, it's probably not gonna. The president was probably, never gonna put these things into place, but he definitely knows how to, talk a big game there and move markets. Holy freaking crap. Market manipulation and a half. All right, guys. So that is the majority of the video here. I just, I'll just point out everything really looks the same here with these bullish engulfing candlesticks, massive candlestick. All indices are probably going to be continuing this bounce. Come over here to Nvidia, guys. This is stronger than the overall market today. 20% move over here on, honestly, a lot of these names. We had Tesla with 22% move, Nvidia with the 19% move. Pretty insane stuff going on, guys. Like really crazy. You got above your 21 EMA there. Next stop is really going to be 122.89, and if you can get above there, we're going to be talking 129.08. If we are going to retrace this whole decline that we really just got, we got a 1, 2, 3. All right, 3, a little 2 legs lower there. Okay, if we're going to retrace it, it's going to be 122.89. That's the level we're going to be paying attention to, and we're going to expect sellers there. Okay, so if you're taking longs today off that spike, all right, then that is where you are going to be scaling out of those. If you were, taking longs down here on these days, then you're up very big, and I think you definitely should be scaling out, but no financial advice. Do whatever you want with your own money. But I hope you guys are having a good time in this volatile market. Coming over here to Tesla, guys, you're at the mother of all trend lines right here, and you look like you're about to break out. I think Tesla is about to freaking explode. Everyone was hating on the guy. You're literally from this whole move up here, you're in the golden pocket right here. So that is present. And honestly, guys, I think it is probably about to explode. Okay, if you can get above 291.85, then, next stop really is all the way up here at 325.10. That's at, around the 326 level we had in our charts a while back, which came from right here. Okay, 326.59. That's going to be next stop. You got above 291.85, you have 303.94, and then 326.59. Come over to Apple. All right, buyers took a stand. Just, everything's going to be looking the same, guys. Take your pick on, to get your favorites going. All right, and focus on them because, everything, anything, you could put money in anything right now on the long side, and it's probably going to be doing well. But again, be cautious on maybe tomorrow or Friday, seeing that, pullback there that just, crushes some premiums here into the end of the week after the absolute massive move we just saw. Just know if you are an options trader, premiums are going to stay elevated here. Even though the VIX got crushed here, we saw an absolute massive move here. And until the market stops having the massive moves, premiums are just going to stay up. But now if you buy when the market is having the big moves and then it somehow stops having the big moves, then, within a few days, you could see premiums get crushed. So that's, the warning there. If you pull back, I think that is going to be the buying opportunity if you're an options trader. Getting that, the premiums crushed there, and then you could take advantage of that. Because I do think, overall, every chart here looks like it's going to continue higher the next few weeks. If we can close out this week, hold this move that we just had. But the market has no reason to get back the move it just had. This is one of the craziest days I've ever seen. Just strictly because of over here. I personally had my limit order somewhere over here. And I just watched this thing freaking take off without me right over here. I saw it shoot to the absolute freaking moon. And I was just waiting on the pullback to get back in. I never really got anything until right over here. Until the end of the day, it just freaking kept going on me. But holy crap, I really wish I didn't have my freaking limit order sitting right here. Because given another few minutes, I would have won another 100 points. And, even on one MES... yeah, that's like $500 right there. I would have been excited to catch this. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, an extra 400 points. Oh my God, I had freaking 2 MES literally sitting right here. Right, you guys see what we were talking? I was thinking a big move was going to come out of this. I had absolutely no idea that it was going to turn into that. So I figured this was most of the move that I was going to be trading. So I got out of one of them somewhere around here, and then I cut the other one right over here. All in all, I am pretty salty. The thing just shot up out of nowhere and just kept going. I would have enjoyed pullbacks, but it is what it is. It is okay. I think overall. The market, guys, I think it just got a lot easier. We had a lot of that fear that was, cluttering everything. I think that is completely out the way for at least the time being. The market, I'm serious, guys, it loves to freak out about things and then forget things and then remember things. I promise that's how it goes over time. So just know this whole tariff thing, we're probably even going to have another, panicky moment here. I don't think it's going to be as bad as what we just got, but we will have to see what what the president wants to, what face the president wants to put on when that time comes. But that is in 2 to 3 months. So, for the time being, that's out of the way. We're going to just follow price action for what it is, guys. Dips are buying opportunities, and that is how we are standing right here, right now. Okay, let's just, come over here to Microsoft, guys. All right, massive move today, 10% move. Everything got the massive moves. But, specifically what we were talking about, literally in yesterday's video, and the thumbnail, it was patience. All right, I made it in the most massive letters I possibly could do. All right. Why? Because that's all it really was. I knew we were kind of, in a very big value area across the board. 2021 highs over here was the same thing on QQ and S&P 500. And, we had 50% retracements from the whole moves going on, like right there. I mentioned yesterday's video, it's either going to be right around here or we're going to fall lower, and we're going to do it at the 0.618 Fibonacci retracements. Either way, over here on these Mag 7 stocks, the value is just getting to, be really beaten down across the board on all of them, guys. And I don't think, I know the tariffs were a thing, but at some point, the market was probably going to snap out of that crash. You just had to wait for it. And, it sucks because you see in hindsight, you see, oh, it's clear as day. But guess what? For all you know, it could have spiked right here and then sold off. But now that we got the daily close, we know, hey, all right. No, it's confirmed. Buyers, completely just took a stand here. Dips are buying opportunities. Okay, if you could take out this high over here on Microsoft, get above 396.36. All right, that is the high before you fell down to a new low there, fell off a cliff. Take that out. This thing looks a whole lot better, and you're probably going to get back into this area up here. Okay, so you get above here, you're probably going to start pushing up to 410. All right, so that's Microsoft over there. Come over to Amazon. Everything's really looking similar over there, but reclaim that big 190 spot. That was your previous all-time high over there. Reclaim that. The next stop is going to be 206.10. That's the next big spot, but underneath there we have 198.34. So above 198.34, you have 206.21. On the downside, your support is going to be 188.65 and then 184.40. All right, that's Amazon. You got Google over here, guys. Everything's at the 21 EMAs here with this, heavy volume we got on the day. Above 163.24, you're really just going to be watching for the test of 172.91. If you want a level in between there, above 163.24, you're going to be targeting 168.46. Take your profits there. Leave a runner for up here if you want. And yeah, above there, 172.91. But the weekly charts, guys, if we get these closes, we're probably going to push up right into this area here the following week. Meta over here, absolute insane move. All right, we're talking 100-point move on the day, guys. That's absolutely insane out of Meta over here. It does look like this thing is probably going to start, hitting the jets, just like Tesla over there, except, I'm just going to say, guys, we know this bottom over here was produced with fear out of Tesla. If this thing can get above 291, it's going to go. All right, it's going to go. But over here on Meta, guys, it's a similar look. You're right here at this downtrend. You're at a key spot here, 580. You closed above it. And if you can get above right over there, 592.66, the next stop really is 610.20. And then above 610.20, you have 633.88. All right, guys, insane moves going on here. Pullbacks are buying opportunities on Meta over here. If you're looking to buy the pullbacks, buy them into 550. And then, yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to be coming back down here, all right? That's like kind of a solid area to, be taking risk off of, okay? Because if you start getting back down here, guys, at that point, this could have been a fake out. But we know for, not a fact, but we know it's extremely, extremely, extremely likely after the fact that we thought this was the impulsive move. And then in one day you do this and we find out, oh my God, the buyers are giving the more impulsive move. So, this isn't a dead cat bounce though. Just know that it's not a dead cat bounce. We saw what happened with VIX here. You end up having a complete crush here. You are now down about 50% from the highs underneath 28.32. This starts really crushing. and you're coming all the way back down. But you do have the daily 21 EMA sitting right here. So we could very well get a pullback off of here. So if it tests here tomorrow, maybe it bounces back a little bit. It spooks everyone. And then that bounce back over there, that is going to be the buying opportunity if you did not get in on today's move. All right. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I did my best to, get everything summed up here and, a relatively organized and, quick manner over here to get it out to you guys. Please just leave a like. And yeah, I will catch y'all in the next one. Everybody have a lovely rest of your day and peace.